Welcome everyone in this episode number 4 already. Time goes quickly. So first I want to show you what the small changes I've done between episode 3 and the one I'm running now, episode 4. So if I open netconfgen.com, so this is the SaaS GUI on the left. So few things, not sure if you noticed, but I changed the color of the header here because it was not visible at all, and it's the same for the footer here. So now we can see something and read something. I added some kind of menu in the main header where the logo is. So I've added Cisco config generator, so this is just leading us to the main page. And I've added 2 different pages for the fun. So the first one is pricing. So when potentially this SaaS will be live and available to you guys as a free, it's already free, you can test, but as a paid version, I just wanted to see how it was looking, what was the output generated by Cisco Cloud. And it's pretty neat. There is like a main header. I just asked Cloud Code to like mirror the thoughts or the design of Alex Hormozi, if you know this guy, big business guy in the US. So we can see there is a main text which can show us the main benefit of this app. So the output is stop copy pasting Cisco config and start deploying in 30 seconds, which is quite strong. And yeah, there is a free plan with a limited template you can generate, and a paid plan with a much more number of templates that you can generate and much more feature. But yeah, it's just looking very neat, very cool. So we will reuse this in the future. And then I added, which is the most important one that you can play with, is the feedback page. So Cloud generated me a small form for you to put your feedback about this SaaS. So any feedback will be appreciated from you guys. So let me just show you. If I do Armand, my email is this one. I want to leave a 4-star rating, telling it's amazing. Please add feature XYZ because this is something useful in my day-to-day job. Okay, so just have a look. Please leave a review because I want to build this tool with you guys. Otherwise there is no point. So we need to build this. We should build this together. If I click send feedback, just as a test, thank you, your feedback has been received. We appreciate you taking the time to help improve netconfgen.com. So it's working. I've tested it in the background and I can see the result in a JSON file, so that's fine. And we can get back to the main page. So what other change I've done? I think that's it. So next step, or at least in this episode, I want to review a few things. I'm going to take my note in Cloud AI. So first, I want to get more specific about the iOS version. So instead of you and me writing the specific release you want your config on, I'd like this to be a drop-down list with all the main security, the main release suggested by Cisco. So that will be the first step. Second step, I was thinking about this field. So regarding the management IP, I was wondering if we could input the full subnet mask like 255.255.255.0, or for example, if we could put 192.168.1.1 and the /24 directly behind it. So this is what I want cloud to check, or at least I want to have both options available. So that's the second part. Third part about the VLAN section. So I've made some thinking about it, and as this is just an access switches, we don't need to define a subnet associated with each independent VLAN, because there's no point. It's just a VLAN, and we shouldn't have any layer 3 interface or network associated with those VLANs. So I want to rectify that. I want to change or update as well the placeholder. So instead of putting this text, I want to say that you can type something like assign port 1 to 12 to VLAN 10, port 13 to 23 to VLAN 20, and so on and so on. Okay, I want to be a bit more descriptive. Fifth task on the list is about the management section. So thinking about this, there is a bit of config about the management IP here in device identity, and there is this toggle button in the services and management. So if I want to assign an IP address on a specific SVI, I can put the VLAN ID and the IP and subnet mask here. I'd like to merge this and have the tool or Cloud AI to suggest which version to go with, because depending of the model, 9300, 9200 or legacy, more older model, we can either use the dedicated management interface, or we can only use an SVI interface, so just an IP address associated with a VLAN. So we would like this to be a bit more dynamic depending on the model we're choosing in there. Okay. So that's the fifth step. So it's all the logic behind it. And 6, update everything. Okay. So let's say we are gonna go with that prompt now, because I just need to re-update the cloud logic just to make sure I'm not missing anything. I will provide this prompt to my VPS on the right. Okay. I'm just gonna take it again from there. It's this one. No, it's not this one. Should be this one. Okay. Tac, tac. Let's copy paste. Let's go. I'm gonna cut the video a bit so it doesn't take too long. So it's already been 2 minutes. Let's see, almost done thinking. I guess there's quite a lot of information to ingest. Okay, it's going. Yes, update the app.py. It's working on the management interface now. Now it's working on the VLAN itself. Management part, yes. Let's update the usage on the left. We are at 39% used, okay. Hopefully we'll have enough. Replace iOS exit test with drop down. Okay, edit index. Replace the static management IP plus default gateway plus uplink. Right. Tech. Usage is now 41% on the left. Now update the VLAN rows to remove the subnet colon. Okay. It's updating the placeholder of the additional context. It's deleting all the management VLAN SVI stuff. Okay. %43 used. Quiet some change on the index HTML. Restart Unicorn. Okay, so I guess we are almost there. I want to proceed with reloading the web services. So it wasn't too bad, almost 4 minutes with all the stuff to change. That's quite impressive. 44% of usage. Yes, continue. It seems like every time the tool is doing some check about all the changing that should be expected, so that's quite impressive as well. Everything checks out. Let me also verify the backend CIDR parsing works. Okay, just try your stuff. All 6 changes are live. Here's a summary of what was done. Okay. So as always, I'm gonna put this summary in cloud. So we have a trace, tac, and we're gonna retest everything. So let's update. It's still working. I can open the GUI, so that's good. So let's start with let's start in order. So the switch list is the same. We're gonna select this one, for example. And the interesting part is that in the iOS XE version, so 17.12 is the latest recommended by Cisco. So we're going to keep this one. And actually, as soon as we selected this model, it's telling me it is telling us out of band management gig 00. This model has a dedicated out of band management port, so that's amazing. So it means we're gonna use by default the out of band interface, which makes sense. So let's do, for example, 172.16.99.1/24. So we're gonna trial this because it's another change. Default gateway will be 254. Uplink port, we leave it blank for now. Regarding the VLAN, we can see that the third column has disappeared, so that's good. So VLAN 10 printer, let's say here assign port 1 to 12 in the printer VLAN. That's all for now. What's next? In services and management, we can see that the SVI part is gone. And it's good for now. So let's reread the steps on the right. VLAN version, management section. I guess the biggest part was the management stuff. So let's try to generate the config. Tac. It's missing a host name. Test switch generate. Okay, but yeah, it seems quite impressive. So in 4 minutes it's generated all those changes. So if I had to build this with ChatGPT, like the other side business I've done, the other website, I will have done hundreds of copy paste between ChatGPT, my VPS, testing, changing stuff. It would have taken me maybe 2 hours, and in this example with Cloud Code it took 4 minutes. This is impressive. Okay, so my template has been generated, so we can still see the management VRF. And if we go, I'm not sure if I told you that, but yeah, I told as well the tool to be re-updated with VLAN 999. So we need, best practice is to use a black hole VLAN. I decided to choose 999. So in theory, all unused access port should be assigned VLAN 999. So if something connects to that port or those port, traffic should go nowhere, basically. Right, so here we can find our management interface, gig 00, with the correct IP address in a no shutdown state. And I guess if I scroll down, I should see the IP route with my default gateway. So interestingly, it generated this route, this default route via the same IP address. So for me, I should only need this IP route using the VRF, management VRF. So I think this is something we need to rectify. Because on that access switches, I shouldn't have any default route because it's just a layer 2 switch globally. And the last change we asked for additional context was to assign the first 12 port to VLAN 10. So working. If we go down to port 12, it's been assigned VLAN 10, and the next available one, 13, 14, and so on, have been assigned to VLAN 999. So the black hole VLAN in a shutdown state. So double security, which I believe is best practice for unused port. Excellent. So that's good. So while we are there, we need to understand this. So let's say it's working pretty well. One note, we can see 2 default route in the generated config. Tech. Let's do with return. So it's neat tech. I believe we should only have the management VRF1 for management. The one above should not be needed on an access switch. And the second part, what did I say at the beginning? We can see IP routing as well. It shouldn't be necessary on an access switch. Same for, I believe this is only used for a layer 3 core switch. So this is an access switch, layer 2 focused. For me, IP routing is just mandatory when we want to route traffic. So where our switch has a core feature. So routing traffic for inter VLAN or back to the router. And this is where we need to enable IP routing. So I believe it's not necessary there. What else? I think that's good for now. Let's see what it says. Okay, so sorry, but Claude is speaking French back to us. So he's saying you're right. On an access switch, this command is not necessary because the switch is not routing. IP routing is needed only on layer 3 switches. That's right. Fix. Okay. So we're just gonna try to fix that, and we will be done for the day in this episode number 4. I believe that should be a bit quicker, even if the other change in 4 minutes was crazy fast for me. Yes, let's change that. Cloud. We are at 48% usage. Cool. Yes. Clean. Now restart unicorns. Yeah, so it took less than a minute. It's just going to restart the web services again. Here's what's changed. Okay. So in my example, it was I think I took 9200, so I can rerun the same test. Okay, tac. Let's get back there. New config, Cisco config generator. So test switch model 9200. Okay, let's do 172.16.99.1/24. Default gateway 254. VLAN 10 printer. We don't care about additional context. We just want to see the last thing about IP routing. Tech. It should come up any second now. Okay, so let's check. So we can still see our VLAN 10 printer. Management interface is still there. Let's scroll down. And we can only see our default route for the management interface. So success. Okay. I'm gonna have to recheck and try a different model. I will do that later. Just as a test, if we select like a 3850, it's detecting dedicated management IP still. Okay, but if we take a 2960, management interface is not available to us, so we need to configure inbound management with an SVI. So in this case, great, we can specify, for example, VLAN 77, which is our management VLAN, and we can assign management IP, mask, and default gateway. So incredible. Cool. Okay, so I think we have enough for today, episode number 4. We've fixed a bunch of great stuff. So that's great. I still invite you to leave feedback on the feedback page. So you just have the link on the top right of the menu, feedback. Please leave review. Please leave feedback. I want to build this tool, this SaaS with you guys. I am a network engineer, so I'm talking to any network engineer, admin, and technician in IT, configuring switch on a daily basis. And even people configuring this like once or twice a year. It can make sense for you because if you're not used to build configuration for switches, depending on the model, depending on the region, you want to have pre-ready or like a tool which allows you to create best practice template in seconds, which we are trying to build now. Right now it's taking like 30 seconds to input our field and 30 seconds to generate the full best practice template. So yeah, please leave review. We want to build this together, and I will see you in episode number 5. See you guys. Bye bye.